Hello and welcome. Today we will talk about modernism and modernity. So let us first start by unpacking the term modern. Modern, it comes from a Latin word which means modernus, and modernus means something that pertains to today, something that is of today. So modern is basically to be a part of the new and hence breaking away from tradition. So by corollary, to be modern is to not be traditional. But in history, modernity is synonymous with the advent of a number of historical and social changes that happened primarily in Europe and primarily in the early 20th century, right? And these changes were like technological advancements, growth in the natural sciences, difference in the relationship that human beings imagined that they had with God, the growth of rationalization, rationalism, the change from monarchy of society from monarchy to and feudalism to democracy. So the change towards democracy and change of people getting more power in their everyday social life. So all these changes eventually were supposed to have an emancipatory potential, um, and these changes therefore led to the ideology of modernism. So I began with talking about the idea of modern. I just defined the word modern, and now I'm talking about the ideology of modernism, which is actually a literary and artistic movement of the early 20th century that was, and you can call it a little before and definitely after the early 20th century as well. So it is the movement that is characterized by deliberate departure from traditional literary and artistic forms, styles, and conventions. And modernist literature, like modernist novels, they represent a shift in how writers approached storytelling and narrative techniques, and you can also see these same things in modernist art forms also. And these techniques were experimentation, there was ambiguity and subjectivity, there was also rejection in traditional realism, and there was a lot of symbolism. And to give you a few examples of this sort are, for example, when Woolf writes Into the Lighthouse, she experiments with narrative perspective. She shifts the perspective and brings multiple people to talk about the inner workings of these people, inner mental workings of these people. So this is to bring in difference in perspectives. Similarly, the stream of consciousness is a non-linear kind of a way of telling stories, which was used by James Joyce as well as Virginia Woolf as well. And similarly, as I was talking about the use of surrealism and the use of symbolism, you see that a lot in Kafka's Metamorphosis, which is an example of modernist writing as well. So you have all these ways in which modernism as an ideology and modernism as a social and art movement that has led to a number of literary and artistic works. Now I've discussed modern, I've defined the word modern, and I've talked about modernism as a literary and social and artistic movement. Now, what is the modern in everyday life? You may be asked this question very often because we use this word modern as having a number of connotations for our everyday life, which is actually a mix of both these terms that I talked about, the meaning of modern and also the connotations of modern, which are associated with modernism as the movement of the 20th century. So, in essence, modern and everyday life encompasses our everyday, contemporary, up to date aspects of our existence, which are influenced by technology, globalization, evolving social norms, and it reflects a current state of human society and ongoing changes that shape our life. And to also talk about Max Weber in this area, to be modern is to have a change in the consciousness of people, and this has a lot to do with technology, it has a lot to do with urban living, consumer culture, globalization, and advances in communication. So, these are all these aspects that I wanted to talk about: the modern, the definition of modern, the ideology of modernism, and how do you associate the term modern, the definition modern, the ideology of modernism with your current understanding of modernity in your everyday life, which is actually a combination of both these things. I'll see you again in another video. Thank you for now.